Hello, that's me right in the corner there. I am Nancy Cooper, and maybe you all know me already for this website, which I put online in 2006 after I was already collecting a lot of pedigrees on my home computer. Before that, I have always been looking for a way to make this public. I want to make sure that you understand we are not a registry. What we do is actually collect pedigrees from all over the world to put them in one internationally public database so everybody can look inside for his dogs, for the ancestors in many generations. Because if you look at pedigree on paper, you see only 4 generations maximum, sometimes more, but here you can go to sometimes 20 generations, as many as dogs as were ever registered or ever known. I started when this went online with 2,500, about 2,500 pedigrees, which I already had collected. By now, if we go to welcome, we can see that I have 91,930 pedigrees already in this database. And it's not just me anymore. There's a lot of people now helping. As you can see also on this website on the first page, you can see all these email addresses for different countries. Every country has persons, people behind it who help me. So if you have a pedigree to add, just send to this email address that you find in this list, and the person responsible for your country will take care of your pedigree. I'm not able anymore to do it all myself. It's too much that comes in by email. I made this video because last year a lady made a nice video about the database, how it works, but she was not really informed too well about all the ins and outs of the database, and I got a lot of requests to make my own video. So that's why I'm here now. I made my own video and I waited a bit because I wanted to have the new version which Sal created the past year. He's been rewriting the program for 8 months in his spare time. That's from April last year till December. He's put all his spare time in it to really rewrite every little thing in this program, and even added a few new features, and more features will come in the future. But for now we want to give so a very good vacation, pedigree database vacation, because yeah, he needs that. I mean, you cannot only work. So let's begin this tutorial. So first, let's go see how to search for a dog. Maybe you found a nice dog on Facebook, or a name you heard people talk about on a show. And I selected some examples which can give some difficulties if you only have a name. Let's go see Italian champion Breno. Enter the name, click search. Yeah, there's a lot of dogs called just Breno without the kennel name. And I see 2 Italian champions. So what dog were these people talking about? Then we have date of birth, and I see this one is 2014 and this one is the year 2000. The last one probably is not alive anymore, so it must have been the first one. So I click on the name. Yes, that's the dog I was looking for. If you only know a name and at least there was an Italian champion or there is a picture attached, it's easier to check on what dog you're actually looking for. If you have the possibility, it's even better to search on pedigree number, and you don't have to put the entire pedigree number here. If you just put some numbers from Breno's pedigree, you see there he is. Even if you put only the last 4, more will show up, but you can not all of them will be called Breno, so it's easier to find the dog I'm looking for. Now, after Saul made his new program behind what you see, what you see is actually quite similar to what it always has been, but he did already put a new feature in it, which is looking to more generations. You can even go to 10 generations. So let's check Breno again. 10 generations. It doesn't even fit my screen. That is a lot of scrolling. but you can actually see his real ancestors. Some are in it with pictures, many not yet. I hope one day to have as many pictures as possible. So, but this is a lot of scrolling to do. So instead of 10, I always prefer just to go to 6. Because of course I know myself the ancestors of most of these dogs already. So I prefer to see 6, which gives a very nice idea of what Breno's ancestors are. Now, if I want to see more of Breno, because Breno is a very nice example to use, I click on his name, and here I see his offspring, but also I see his littermates. And the nice thing about Breno is that all his littermates have actually a picture in it. So you can see if Breno is just a beautiful dog out of a lucky combination, or that he also has very, very beautiful littermates, which makes him even more interesting. So, and if we look here, we actually see that his littermates are also very, very nice dogs. So that makes it, yeah, a very interesting dog to look into. So here we are again at Breno. Interesting to see, if you scroll down, is all his offspring he has so far. If you click on date of birth, it will select in this order, so you can actually see the first litter, one puppy, then bigger litters, and also here you see he's been used outside of Italy. This means I don't know if all the puppies are in. You see the numbers are missing some from 09 and 11, 14, 15. So here some are missing, and then we see the Italians are usually up to date. I try to keep track of them, that they are up to date. You can see the color he gave, hip scores from his puppies so far, and yeah, even date of death if known. For most dogs, this is not known. A very interesting thing also to see is his inbred percentage is quite low. If you click here, we can go to more detailed information about this inbred percentage. We see the number of puppies his parents had, and also more of the other puppies, the little mates. I keep tripping over my own tongue. His coefficient of inbreeding is quite low. Yet down here we can see that the inbreeding of his father's line is actually over 25%. That's quite high. His mother is quite low, but because these two were almost not related, even Breno has a low percentage. And we can also see the inbreed pedigree. As you see, no strange colors. Wild dogs twice in it should have another color, or 3 times, 4 times. So in the first 4 generations, nothing. If we go to 6 generations, there we see these dogs double. This is why his father has quite a high inbreed percentage. On mother's side, we also see some dogs double, but these are different dogs from that was also in the father. So this is why his own percentage is quite low. Another good example is to look for a dog like Byron. As you could see in Breno pedigree, you saw several times a dog called Byron. And if you look at the pedigree itself of Breno, you would think it's the Byron we all know, the one from Galderium. Here we see all these Byrons. This is, I just do right click so I can open one pedigree next to the other. This is the known Byron we all know from many years ago. But this is actually not the Byron in Breno's pedigree. This one, also with a picture, is actually the one in Breno's pedigree. So it's again two different dogs with the same name. This is very, very confusing. Now, another interesting name to search for is, for example, Silver. A lot of dogs with Silver in the kennel names, but there we see we have a Silver. He's a Russian champion. We have another Silver here. Now let's first go see this first Silver. This actually is a dog with, from all the Silvers, with the most offspring. No titles, no nothing, but over 100 offspring, as you can see here. This was also a very interesting dog. It's many years ago, but his sister, Sarah, was world champion in 2000. So even if Silver didn't have any titles, it was still a very interesting dog. But the Silver more spoken of, more used, more known, not more used, more known actually, is this Silver. Now I'm not so happy with the picture I've seen this dog. He was much better looking in the flesh. But you can see that's actually a son of Byron. And if we go see detailed information, we see he had quite a number of puppies and also champion puppies. So a lot of champion puppies. This was also a very interesting dog. Now, we scroll back up, we see owner de Valle de Lord. Now, if you don't know exactly all the names, what has kennel name, what has not, if we go back to look at all the Silvers, we even see a Silver de la Valle de Lord. He's there somewhere. Yep, here he is. Also a Russian champion. Yes, there's Byron again, but still, this is again a different Silver. So if you only know the name, be careful that you don't do your homework on the wrong dog, because that can easily happen. This is also the reason why we do not allow people to enter their own dogs, because with all these similar names, it's too confusing, and too many times we actually do see, because there's other database that people can enter their own pedigrees, that they just put the wrong ancestors by not looking at the pedigree numbers or not knowing the pedigree numbers, and they put completely wrong ancestors and do their homework on the wrong dogs. So for this reason, we do not allow people to. I am also often asked to enter another field, which is country, so we can see where the dog actually is. Maybe for the future Sal can think of something, but if you look at this Silver della Valle del Lord, you can see his first pedigree number was Italian. From there he went to Russia, where he even became a champion. And from there he went actually, this is a French pedigree number. Now, what we actually do as a rule when entering dogs and we see a new pedigree number is the first one is the country of origin, then he moved to the second one, and then he moved again to the third one. So we keep adding new pedigree numbers because you could have a pedigree where he was in Russia and he is the grandfather of your dog. If you look by pedigree number, you will find him on this number. So we never cancel the old number, we just keep putting new pedigree numbers behind it. So that makes it easier to find the dog on pedigree number. Now, there's another few dogs that are very interesting by name, where most people make actually the mistakes if people just enter their own dogs. One, Asia. If we go see how many dogs we already have with this name, 710. First, some where it's a part of the name, but here already is all this Asia. I can tell you we have over 500. I can even skip the second page because it's all Asia. There's nothing different there, all Asia. And we have over 500 dogs with this name. So this is very confusing if you don't know the pedigree number of the dog you're actually looking into. Second most used name is Zeus. That's for the males, the most used name, because look at here, also here, we could just keep on running into that name. And these are actually all different dogs. So if I go to the last page, we can see a lot of Zeus del Antico Cerbos. These are all different dogs. It's not like he's in there over 10 times. These are really all different dogs. Because there is no rule that we are only allowed to use a name once. This rule was in the past, maybe it's still used by ICCF, but ICCF has nothing to do with FCI and internationally accepted pedigrees. This can be a problem because yeah, they didn't realize that we use names several times. So sometimes in ICCF pedigrees, I see that they use the wrong dog, but I always send them a quick email. Listen, this is the pedigree, and I think either one of us is wrong. We don't know, so we check, and often, yeah, they didn't realize it was yet another Zeus del Antico Cervos, because it's possible I want a beautiful male. That's my dream, and I go to Antico Cerberus, and my dream name has always been Zeus. So I get another Zeus del Antico de Cerberus. This list will just keep on growing and growing and growing. You can also see it's different dogs, not just by pedigree number, also the date of birth. Another thing I would like to show you is how to do a different kind of search, because you maybe know the owner or the breeder of a dog, and you know the name, but you don't know a pedigree number. So how to be sure which dog you are looking for. So if you go to view owners breeders, and let's say I go for myself, that's easier for me, and I have a dog Stella. I used to have a dog Stella. Now, there's also a lot of Stellas by now in the database. So if I go to look for myself, my name is Nancy Koper with a K, so I go to the K. What we see, there's still a lot of scrolling to do before you find me. There's an easy trick in the future, so we'll change that, so you can just look on name like we go on pedigrees, but in the URL, actually, it starts with a K. You can just spell my name, enter, and there I am, Nancy Koper. That's me. And there you see the owner of and breeder of, which is quite some more. But if you are looking for this Stella, you heard of Stella from Nancy. If you don't know a pedigree number, it's impossible to find. So just go to me as a breeder, and you can select Stella. And there she is. That's my Stella. You can see the puppy she had. You can see the litter mates. And by clicking again on the name, you can see the entire pedigree. Entire, it's not so much, but this is also how you can find the dog. So like if I want to go to silver, like before, it's difficult. Oh no, Luigi Di Rienzo. So I go to Luigi Di Rienzo. I think it's Rienzo. We made it. There is Luigi, and I can see, yes, this is the silver he owned, the dog most spoken about, and we see all his offspring. So that's also a way to find the dog. But I must say, if you look at the actual pedigree, we do not see who are the owners and breeders of these dogs. Breeders we can sometimes see from the kennel name, but owners impossible. It's not written. If the dog is an ancestor, it's not written who's actually the owner. So this search does not always give you the shortcut to find the dog quicker. But it can help in case we know it, so it's always worth a try if you have difficulties finding the correct dog. But like I said, easiest always is the pedigree number. Interesting thing I want to show you is advanced info. Let's go there. Here we see all the statistics about what's in the database, like the color black is most known color, because most of course are known. We don't see always on the pedigree the color of the dog. We see also in the hip scores, A is most common, then B, then C, then B, and then of course, yes, there's all these pen hip, OFA, and Surprisingly, very few OFA scores are actually in the database. That's because they are mostly not for the public, and then we don't know. So as you can see here, most is actually unknown. Very interesting here to see is male, female with the highest numbers. Female is of course not that interesting. That's mostly females that actually have a few very big litters or have had many litters every heat cycle in their lives. But the most interesting is of course the males with the highest numbers. And this is first generation, known in the database. So these dogs mostly have puppies in other countries as well, where we don't know all the puppies from, all the pedigrees, because if people don't send it in, we don't know it. Now, we see a first place Daidauni Conan, but we see second place Zach. Now, Zach, we know, is a son of Conan. So together they are already more than 1,000 dogs, offspring of Conan. And here are, of course, more puppies from Conan in this list. So Conan is actually I think, the most common name in pedigrees, which makes a lot of people, especially newbies, scream like, I have Italian champions bloodlines. Yes, right. Uh, most of us have. It's actually at this moment quite difficult to find good dogs who do not have Conan in their pedigree. So it's also a little bit of a warning. We must be aware that the inbreeding coefficient of the dogs will not go too high because it's all the time the same ancestors. But this is an interesting list to go through and to see. Also look, almost all dogs have pictures here, so you see which dogs are actually the ones people like the most and use the most. So this is very interesting to see. And last but not least, of course, the most interesting feature in this database, the virtual mating. So why we breeders always look at pedigrees, that's because we have in mind a future litter and we want to see which parents are double or what already are the health scores or whatever. We always look at pedigrees with something on our minds. We just don't go look like, oh, that's a nice dog and end of story. So for this virtual mating, I will choose two of my own dogs, which I will never use together, but just to show how this works. Um, First is dog father. Well, let's just use my Vespuccio. El Mosquito Vespuccio. There's only one there. As mother, I will use my Havana. Nah, I don't think. I will use my Goldie better. Dio Goldie. Is it possible? No, she's not Dio Goldie. She's let's just make it Goldie. No, not this Goldie. Ah, you see how important it is if you search that you also, there she is, El Mosquito Goldie. Ragazzi di El Mosquito Goldie. So if I use this example, we can see litter mates, we can see the puppies they already have. We can see the ancestors, which ones are most in the pedigree, and in this case I just know a lot of dogs that will be double in this pedigree, which makes it interesting to look at this inbreeding pedigree. The coefficient of inbreeding between father and mother is 12%. That's high. That's very high because that's just on calculation basis. If you go see this on DNA basis, it's probably even higher. Also, coefficient of breeding of this virtual puppy would be 6.9. Trust me, on DNA basis, it will be a lot more. If we go to this inbred pedigree, we will see already in 4 generations, one dog double. And if we go see 6 generations, we see already a lot more of dogs doubling up here. That's dogs on both sides that are just double here. And the more generations we go back, the more we notice dogs doubling up. So um, this makes it interesting and easier to look at ancestors which are doubling up. Why are they doubling up? And to see if this is actually also a combination you would yeah, you could do, and see what type you hope to get out of it. But of course there's a lot of more thinking than just look at a pedigree before you breed. But this is just an example, knowing that some ancestors would show up double. So this is why I chose this example, which I will never do myself. Another thing about this virtual breeding, maybe you have puppies coming up. This dog is already pregnant, or they are just born, and of course the puppies don't have pedigrees yet. This takes a while. This link up here, this the URL, you can just copy, and you can use on your website, you can use on Facebook. This link will always work, because if you look, it has a father ID and a mother ID, and these numbers will never change. So wherever you want to post your litter, you can just use this link, and the people interested can already go see the virtual pedigree, which is then actually later the pedigree they will get. Now you see a lot of pictures here from a lot of dogs, but we see also sometimes some dogs missing, which is actually a shame. If you have pictures of your dogs, or your dogs are already in and the pictures are missing, the more pictures, the nicer it is for breeders also to look at how litter mates are, how puppies are, how they produced, the ancestors, what they look like. Just use these email addresses here for your country, or just the info, and we will add the pictures to your dogs. So that's yeah, very important for us. The more pictures, the nicer it is to look at a pedigree. And let's not forget to donate. Saul did an amazing job on rewriting the entire program, and the donations are used to maintain the pedigree program, for which now Saul is still working very hard. More features will come, and the web service that this database is running on. So please don't forget to donate if you use this tool, because it is and always will be a free service for everybody. You will never be charged for nothing. Thank you very much for listening and watching, and as soon as there are new features that are interesting to show, I will make another short video, short that time, to explain the new features. Thank you very much, and yeah, I hope